New Artist Spotlight Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome again to the New Artist Spotlight Podcast. I'm Wilko Wilkes.
And I'm the man who puts the verse in the conversation, Origin Crxss. Now, if you've tuned in before, you know that we're here to interview some of the best and brightest artists from the New Artist Spotlight playlist, which are your gateway to some of the freshest, most exciting music from independent artists from around the globe.
And you can find all the playlists as well as news, reviews, tips, and much more on newartistspotlight.org. Now, today's guest is very exciting. They're an active and very knowledgeable, helpful member of the New Artist Spotlight community. So looking forward to hearing from them both.
Yes, hailing from Texas, so you never know, we might just be neighbors. Welcome to the show, Virginia and Frank, otherwise known as Blues Trainer.
Howdy.
Hi, good to have you on. How are you doing?
Good. Sorry, my cat is deciding to play the piano behind me. I forgot to turn it off before.
That's
so
good.
she says hello.
She has a very musical cat.
Oh, good.
I do.
I've got a cat and I lift him up and put him on the piano to try and get him to play, but he just walks off. He's not interested yet, but we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, no, Lucy loves to walk up and down the keyboard. She delights in making sounds. So
Right. Oh, yeah, I remember you saying that because that's my wife's name as well. So we both got a Lucy and a cat, but not the same.
But your wife probably doesn't spell it Luci, right?
No, she doesn't. No, that's right. And she doesn't even play the
Lucy
keyboard.
with an I, so her nickname is Lucy of Fur.
Very good. Lucifer. I get it.
Oh.
I get it. So first of all, I'm a fan of your music. Great stuff. Love it. Very bluesy, very soulful in the singing, I think, as well. So anyone who hasn't listened to a bit of Blues Trainer, though, tell us a bit about yourself, your music, and kind of what was the inspiration behind you to getting together and then creating this fire.
So we met in grad school, and I hadn't really played music for more than a few years before that, and never terribly well. But my guitar teacher told me the best way to learn to play rock and roll lead guitar was to listen to B.B. King. And I just never got to the rock and roll part because I was just so amazed by the Kings. And around that time, Virginia and I were right next to each other because of assigned seating, and we were forced to mingle and discovered that we both liked blues.
Yeah.
Love it.
And so we started playing. We actually used to play with a group called Maxwell's Demons. So if there's any science people out there, that might be something you've heard of. Or demons. I guess there's a controversy if it's demons or demons. We were about a 5-piece, and then we just started breaking out, doing some smaller sets when not everyone was available. Frank and I started playing a lot with our friend Dave. And we just kind of branded it as Blues Trainer so it wouldn't get confused with Maxwell's Demons. But eventually everyone just kind of scattered to the wind. And so we just kind of made it official and did our album. We were really influenced by a lot of stuff in the writing and the sound that we did for our album. So Frank introduced me to someone named Jason Isbell, who's outlaw country and a storyteller. So on our album, like if you listen to the song Susan, like that was very much so inspired by this idea of telling a story. But and I'm come more from a background of course, the opera side, but also a lot of R&B, Motown, that kind of thing. So I was really excited to kind of bring that sound. Frank, I don't remember what albums we used for references. We used, I think, Patty Griffin and then Mary J. Blige's The London Sessions as kind of a guidepost for the sound we were looking for in our album.
I like that. That's a good idea. And now, how long ago was this then? How long have you known each other, and how long have you been a band?
It's been 10 years.
Right.
More than that, isn't it? Frank's like, too long.
Yeah, you're still not sick of each other? Debatable?
It depends.
So it's really interesting you guys say Mary J. Blige, given the fact that today is Super Bowl Sunday and she is performing at the halftime show.
Yeah, it's like about the only thing I care about in this year's Super Bowl.
No, I definitely understand that because, well, all right. I'm from Detroit, right? So the Rams have Stafford, who's been our quarterback for like forever, and then he leaves us and he goes to the Super Bowl the next year. And then we have Eminem performing there too. So it's like the closest Detroit will ever get to the Super Bowl is having two people that are related to Detroit participating.
Let's hope she knocks all the
Right?
pins down, scores a perfect game. I'm rooting for her.
All right, so we're gonna kick Wilko off the call, and we'll just continue.
We'll just, Arjun, you and I are just going to sit here and to talk Detroit music, Aretha Franklin, Motown. I'm all down for that.
Let's do it.
I'll leave you to be. Yeah. See you later.
Yeah. Scoop.
Well, when I lived in Houston briefly for a while, I loved that down there. I think it's Memorial Park downtown area, and would go and they had lots of Motown concerts. So that was super fun. Like cover bands and huge shows. So
I've been to Houston like maybe twice. Haven't really actually got to explore Houston when I was there though. I'm in San Antonio now, but I hear you guys from Austin, so that's where all the fun is when you're in San Antonio.
Yeah. Hey, well, I get down San Antonio way sometime. We'll hang out. Some of our really good friends that were on the album that we recorded, the Palacios brothers, they're from Hebronville, which is south of San Antonio, a couple hours. They play a lot in San Antonio, so I like to go and see them and sometimes crash the stage.
We got to take advantage of that. So you guys clearly have all kinds of passion and feeling in your music, right? So tell us a little bit how that love for music really developed and got you guys kind of started off.
So I've always been in a musical family. So that's just been something like my grandmother was a music teacher and a choir director. There's on my mom's side of the family, there's opera singers. It's always been a strong influence. I grew up with my father playing bass. So, playing Henry Mancini and like Pink Panther and things like that. And then slowly learning how to play blues as well. And just understanding that the blues is not about perfection. It's really about, where you are, like feeling that moment. So that really came to me. That actually blends really well with the opera because it's also supposed to be very emotional, sometimes very funny, but also sometimes very serious. Death scenes are the best. So I've been doing music pretty much my whole life. I started piano when I was 2.5, started trumpet somewhere in elementary school, singing, did my first recordings when I was in elementary school. And then I funded my first album, demo that I recorded when I was in high school and in early parts of college by doing karaoke contests. Just to date myself a little bit. I was just like, okay, I'm just going to sing Mariah Carey Emotions. Nobody's going to beat me. Cool. There's $150. So
did you win?
What I was doing. I did a lot.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Very good.
Frank, you have a different journey.
What about yourself, Frank?
I do have a bit of a different journey. Not a musical family. We always loved going and seeing shows, but I didn't pick up the guitar until I was 20, and just had housemates who were rather musical in college, and they were really into red dirt country music and all of that, and started trying to play with them until I eventually actually could.
That's amazing,
but
man.
I've done most of my actual improving and settling in and understanding my sound with Virginia.
Brilliant. How long did it take you to sort of get from complete amateur to being pretty comfortable with it?
I'm not sure you're ever completely comfortable with it, but I'd say about 4 or 5 years to feel willing to go in front of people and play.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's dedication.
So was that from being in front of people and playing, or just before you even get the nerve to actually go out there and do it for
I was forced as my last college class to do a concert, one song per classmate, and I chose Comfortably Numb by Pink Floyd, and I bombed. I bombed badly.
We've all been
it's
there,
happened to the best of us.
mate. Yeah. It's all part of the process, isn't it? Yeah. You hope you get over those days, but they could always just be around the corner. So yeah, tell us about. So Frank, am I right in thinking you don't have much to do with New Artist Spotlight? It's mostly Virginia. So how did you? But I've heard your name banded around. You know, you're a bit of a local celebrity anyway. But so Virginia, you tell us a little bit about NAS, how you stumbled across it, and your experiences of it.
For New Artist Spotlight, I think, it's so hard to remember how exactly I found it. I think there was multiple points of contact. There was the Kamikaze blues band. Oh gosh, what is that? The gorilla. I don't remember. I'm getting the name. It's a really long name. He's a really funny guy. He does blues music, and I was chatting with him on Twitter, so I know he had pushed some stuff out. And then I think I just came across some things, and I finally just said, okay, I'll click on it. And I'll admit, like the first couple of days, I was really nervous because, as Ed will tell people, is that I'm open about sharing that we've all had some pretty bad experiences in the music world. As a woman, I've had some really bad experiences, but won't go there. But just in general, that there's a lot of people out there that take advantage of independent musicians. We're already hemorrhaging money for our love and passion of this, but people are always willing to take more from us and give us, bots for followers, or take our money and promise that they're going to do promotion. And then we just get these little canned messages. Sorry, we heard your music. We don't like it, or we don't want it. So I was a little nervous when I first came into New Artist Spotlight, but I liked Ed. I liked the moderators, and I met him right away, and just kind of got this vibe that I had to remind myself, oh, these people are actually just like me. They're just independent musicians. There's no money exchanged here. This is just a place where we can support each other, listen to each other, and then start collaborating together. So I love it. I love going into the Discord and seeing new people signing up every day. So it's great.
Yeah, me too. And I think you're great in it as well. You're very conscious of everyone, and you often helping people out, and I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. And there's so many people like that in there, isn't there? That's why I love it. Every time I've got a question, it doesn't matter what time of day it is as well, because everyone's around the world. I could be sat there at 4 a.m. and thinking, oh God, I don't know what to do here, and then ask a question within 5 minutes, I've got a super helpful answer.
Yeah, and because with the pandemic too, not playing live or struggling with that aspect of it, being that we are trying to do live, just feeling more comfortable asking. I have a whole group of people to ask questions about my whole audio setup, and how am I recording at home, and staring at this audio box and going, I don't know what the hell this thing is. Sorry, I don't know if I can swear. But and things like Charles and Andres, coming through and giving, and Charlie Smith giving advice and, making me feel comfortable to make mistakes. So I enjoy that.
I feel like NAS offers a lot beyond what people just initially assume when they kind of join the community. One of those things actually being community, because a lot of people have Discords or Instagram chats full of people that are supposed to support each other, and it's really just people that are trying to figure out how they can leverage each other, but not necessarily support. And I feel like NAS does a good job of kind of taking that and changing that narrative. Speaking of narratives, right? So, Frank, your day job or your profession, you're a physicist, right?
Yeah, trained as a physicist. Mostly I code.
Okay, that's really cool, because you don't see a lot of people who have degrees in things like that are pursuing music or trying to achieve anything kind of creative outside of their field, right? And even me, my degree's in mechanical engineering, right? I do construction management. So it's cool to see people who have these educations in one thing, but are still pursuing their passions, outside of just whatever it is that they went to school for. You want to talk a little bit about kind of that and how it is kind of balancing both?
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of musicians in science. It's kind of surprising. I feel like there's a lot of similar creative elements that are required. You don't think about how much creativity is necessary to come up with experiments, to check them, to figure out what the problems might be. Writing, lots and lots of writing. But it's not that different from music in some ways, in that you've got this marriage of technical abilities and creativity. But I'll never be the best PhD physicist guitarist because of Brian May. So there's a really high bar.
A bit. Yeah, that is quite high.
No one will ever reach.
Yeah, definitely. So what song are we playing today?
So today we're going to play an acoustic version. It's on our album of a song called Baroque Heart. It is, Frank, what did you describe it? You call it what?
It's psych punk blues.
Yeah, psych punk blues.
Okay.
So the acoustic version's a little tamed down, but when we used to play this with Maxwell's Demons, our predecessor band, and if we get on stage with a brave bassist, we will turn it into a full-on punk song. So that's what we're going to play. We've got a video coming out for it later this week. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I look forward to watching the video, and I love the track. So let's give it a spin. Do you want to introduce it?
Or do we introduce it?
Yeah. Yeah, you just go, this is...
Oh, yeah. This is Broke His Heart by Blues Trainer.
Broke his heart if he had a heart to break. Would have broke his heart if he had a heart to break. I done realizing now that my love was on the tape. Yeah, for all those years he was never sweet to me. And for all those years he was never sweet to me. One day to find my man was spitting me. I would have broke his heart if he had a heart to break. I would have broke his heart if he had a heart to break. I should have snuck away when I realized my mistake. Won't be coming round no more. He won't be coming round no more. If my new man, my man has a thing
thanks for letting us play that. That was really good. I enjoyed it. I'm sure everybody listening did too, right? So I wanted to ask you, about the future of Blues Trainer. Hearing that Frank is moving to Pennsylvania in a couple of weeks. Is that right? And what does that mean for the future of you guys?
It's not true. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Well, in academia, you kind of don't know where you'll be with the next job. And we've been extremely lucky to be together making music for 10 years. But all of our former bandmates have left us. And now I guess I'm going to be a professor at Penn State.
No.
Well, I mean, we live in a digital world, right? So, I mean, stems can be sent back and forth.
Yes.
Yeah,
Anymore.
I really loved in college the Postal Service because they were just mailing demos from one to the other, and they could make really good music without even having all of the great digital collaboration tools we've got.
Mm-hmm.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
and I think for me, I'm like I'm in denial still. No, I'm not really, but I think I've moved to the next stage of grief in this process, but I won't know for sure until he actually leaves. But I think that's one thing I really appreciate about NAS, and I was telling Frank this the other day, is being a part of NAS for the last several months has really almost prepared me for this, because now I feel confident in being like, oh, Frank, we still need to get this EP out, and knowing what songs we're going to do and being able to record at home, knowing how to give feedback to each other and say, we got to, fix this or position this mic differently or get this different mic in there. So I just feel more comfortable. And if I get stuck, that there's this community here that I could, DM somebody and say, hey, can you check out this track? It doesn't quite sound right. What am I doing wrong? And helping each other out, give feedback. So, and just building up collaborations. So I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable. I just did my first collab with the NASer last week that comes out, I guess this last Monday, because this doesn't release today, but on Valentine's Day. So just feeling more comfortable. So I personally am feeling like we can still do this, but he is going to be a professor and he's going to be on the tenure track. So, there's that whole time element.
Very good. Yeah. Oh, and if you want to collab with myself or Origin as well, we do them for the low price of just £1 million.
I mean,
I charge USD.
Okay. I tried to offer crypto. Wilko turned me down. I'm still waiting to do like the ZYXY YouTube sucks video. I don't know, but.
Very good.
Did you prepare that one? Because that was good.
Love it.
I don't know that it really sucks, but whatever.
So, Virginia, I wanted to ask you something as well, if you're happy to talk about it, because I know that you've talked about it before, that you had a traumatic brain injury. And just tell us a little bit about that. And kind of, I know you're doing a little bit of work as well to support other women who've had TBIs. Yes,
traumatic brain injuries. I feel like Frank could probably tell you more because he witnesses it. I'm not always the most observant of my patterns of my behavior, but I have a lot of things that go with traumatic brain injuries. In general, the reason I had an accident. So I've fortunately had multiple concussions, and I've had one since I got diagnosed as well. So it's really fun. But what I have learned over time is two things. First of all, the research on TBIs focuses mostly on men. So it looks at footballers, both American and European. So whether we're talking about American football or European football, or what we call soccer here, we can have a debate on that anytime.
The best football, yeah. Real football.
But a lot of focus.
The one where you use your foot. Yeah, that one. Yeah, I know it.
Use your American foot in all of them.
Right? Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry. Carry on, Virginia.
Field goal kicker. Field goal kicker.
The kicker scores more points than anybody else on the team. So
And career longevity. Let's talk about that, right? Like, come on now.
Right. Yeah. So, but my experience, just my journey through the medical profession has been very little focus on women in TBIs. And it's a little different, both from a physical standpoint, which I won't get into here, but also from a social standpoint. I think there are certain expectations that we carry as women about our behavior, about our responsibilities, that for a man with a brain injury, it might not impact that as much, but for a woman, it does. So, there's this idea, I'm talking to a whole bunch of men I'm woman-splaining you right now. No.
How's your
here for
multitasking?
It's fair.
Yeah.
What was that, Frank?
How's your multitasking?
Oh, my multitasking, that doesn't exist. So, but the ADHD is real. And so I apologize if that comes through. And so all of the host of things, but, as a woman, there's this idea of having to pick up the slack, of always having to, you don't even realize this, but there's these expectations that society puts on us to just always be present, always be calm, always be there, because the instant we show a crack, we're quote unquote hysterical, right? And so we have to work really, really hard that no one sees our weaknesses, no one sees those cracks. But when you have a brain injury, those cracks are more likely to come through. The joke I call it is brooming. So, like when you have a broom, and then I take a noun and I'll make it a verb. So it's brooming, not sweeping. So things like that I do all the time. But I have ADHD. I have memory lapses. Part of the reason I don't like to do covers is that I will completely forget what's happening. Like I'll be on stage performing and what's happening? But a lot of the research on brain injuries doesn't focus on these things. And then the whole endocrine system for women is very different than men's. And so that also is something that I've learned. Most doctors have no clue what they're talking about when it comes to my journey. But as a musician, I'm also finding brain injuries to be an unexplored space for most people. Having a disability as a musician is, I don't know, it's difficult for a lot of reasons. Sometimes it's hard for me to know, if I have to plan a gig 4 weeks in advance, I don't know what that day is going to be like when that gig comes around. I may have to set something up ahead of time. It might be a day where I don't feel like I can even drive, so there's, I can't rely on my brain to always be exactly where I need it to be. But doing originals is fun because I just make up new lyrics if I forget my lyrics.
That's great.
So,
and I think it's inspiring for other people as well to see that you are still so productive as well, putting out quality music despite those challenges that you've got.
Right. And then other things that go with having a brain injury. I know Frank, I scared him the first time I told him I have something called vocal cord dysfunction. When you're a singer, it sounds terrible. That's from the brain injury. And then I also have audio processing disorder, which basically means I can't hear two sounds at the same time and make sense of them, which as a musician, wow, that is very traumatic. So yeah, I'm hoping to do more awareness about TBIs, that space both for women, but also for musicians. Because I think there's a few people out there that you may not realize, have TBIs, and I don't know that everyone feels like they have a voice to share their experiences.
Yeah, I mean, that's great work. That's a great space to kind of put yourself in. Someone who has the experience and can bring awareness to something that you've been through and that others are going through. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this. There's another singer. She's deaf, but she sings, and I think she plays she plays at least one instrument. I think maybe like the ukulele or something like that. She was on, I think, the episode of The Voice or one of the other shows, and she sings on stage barefoot so she can feel the vibration of the music, and has her and uses muscle memory, and she has a song called Try. And when you watch the performance, it's really emotional. They show her story, and then you hear her perform so well. even with this like injury that you don't even think that you think eliminates this person from even being able to be an artist. And like I have a song on my phone that's really good. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but
I feel like I'm gonna look it up right now.
I mean, yeah, because I mean, people should check that out, right? Especially people who need different types of motivation and just Mandy Harvey.
Andy Harvey.
Mandy
Okay.
Harvey.
Okay. Yeah. That's cool. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, it's amazing. I think a lot of people think of, disability as something that's going to be limiting you. But honestly, I kind of think of disability as giving me different opportunities.
Yeah.
So,
and building your story to make it even greater.
Yeah. Now there are definitely limits, as Frank will attest to. There are things I just can't handle. But I work on it.
So I think it's time that we take a kind of shift toward a different direction. I know you guys know what's coming. It's the famous NAS Quickfire 5. You're going to be asked 5 questions. We got no more than 15 seconds to answer each question. Are you guys ready?
Now, do we have to pick who answers which one, or do we both get 15 seconds?
We're going to go.
It's a good point. Well, you get. Oh, yeah. Well, Frank doesn't know the answer.
We'll do each of you guys, I guess, right? How about we do each of you?
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
You can edit it.
Yeah, you're right. Let's do them both. Yeah. Who's going first?
She is.
Oh, but I just got done talking, and I need to drink some of my tea before I go. So Frank, you get to go.
Oh, okay.
Oh, chivalry's not dead.
Origin, should we take 5 each as well instead of alternating?
Yeah, look, like we can ask the questions like kind of how Andres did it for the special episode,
well,
right?
You can ask Virginia. You can go first, and I'll take Frank.
Okay, so I guess I go first.
All right.
Hi, San Antonio.
San Antonio says hi back. So, what is your favorite song from the New Artist Spotlight playlist?
I think I'm going to have to go with Blindfold Experience Paradise, the radio edit, just because the Blindfold Experience, the whole idea of international collaborations totally does it for me. Yeah.
Great. So what one song always makes you want to dance?
From New Artist Spotlight? It's got to be Charles Connolly, Europe in the Summertime.
You hear that? Good shout out.
But also Sovereign's Royal Nightmare. Do not dismiss Sovereign's Royal Nightmare. That song is amazing.
Got you. If you could have the voice of any other artist on the planet, whose voice would you have?
I think Tamia. She is from Windsor, Canada. Love her voice. Just a smooth mezzo soprano. Yeah, love it.
Which band or artist, dead or alive, would you most like to go on a night out with?
I think, so I get a lot of thought. I want to hang out with Motion Sickness because he's in New Zealand, and I really want to go visit New Zealand and have someone show me around. So that's my final answer.
If you could spend a day with one other NAS artist, who would you pick?
Oh, see, that's the same thing, right? Like, I think I just answered the wrong question. So I'm going to say the same thing because I really want to go to New Zealand. Honestly, anyone I would hang out with, I think, in our group.
Love it. And yeah, I also thought that was question 5 when I came in and said you smashed it.
I thought we should have like the cheesiest song thing, and I was like all queued up, ready for that one.
Oh, so. Yeah, no, I mixed it up to catch you out. Because we kept asking people about their funerals. So I thought, yeah.
We had that one ready to go too.
Never mind. So Frank, Quickfire 5, question 1. What is your favorite song from the New Artist Spotlight playlists?
I'm not terribly sure. Of the things that Virginia has sent me, I think by Ed Eagle.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love that.
My favorite. Yeah,
very good. Oh, that's cool. I thought you were going to go for a Blues Trainer one. Question 2. What's one song that makes you want to dance?
I don't know. I grew up listening to country music mostly, so anything Vince Gill makes me want to dance.
Very good. Question 3, if you could have the voice of any other artist on the planet, whose voice would you have?
I'm going terribly unoriginal and saying Robert Plant.
No, I don't think we've had that yet, so don't worry about that. He's got a great voice as well. Which band or artist, dead or alive, would you most like to go on a night out with?
Well, if they were dead, I think it might be a more interesting night. But I kind of feel like Warren Haynes is just the friendliest artist on the planet. He's collaborated with just gobs and gobs of people. Chuck Leavell would be up there as well.
Okay, 2 people I've never heard of. And question 5, if you could spend a day with one other NAS artist, who would you pick?
Blues Trainer is definitely the answer there, because I don't know.
Yeah, it's got to be.
You actually want to hang out with me?
Yeah, I suppose.
Well,
Super Bowl Sunday.
that's awesome, right? We want to thank you guys so much for joining us today. It's been great to meet you, but before we go, can you tell everybody where they can find your music and your socials?
Yeah, sure. We're Blues Trainer pretty much everywhere. We're on TikTok, Spotify, Apple, Deezer, Instagram, Facebook. It's always just Blues Trainer. Yeah, you can find us.
Brilliant. And yeah, it's been a fun episode. Appreciate it. Nice to meet you guys. And thanks everyone at home for listening. Thanks to everyone who's partnering up with NAS, putting us on radio stations, repping us around the globe. We appreciate it. And we'll see you all next time.
Peace.
Bye, everyone.
New artist spotlight.